Alrighty, my name's Clay Canfield. I'm the founder of Sobriety Hub software for sober livings, and I'm here today with my friend Jackie Lewin. Jackie is the co-owner of Safe House Sober Living Women's Housing down in Boynton Beach. Jackie, thanks for being with me. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I know that there's a really interesting story behind the mission. You want to start by just telling us a little bit about what inspired you to work in this field?
Yeah, so I have been in and out of recovery for a long time, about 14 years. Um, and when I was in my 20s, I got sober and I started working in treatment. And, I had been to so many sober living, so many halfway houses. And I always just kind of knew that like I wanted to have my own women's house. And then like last year, this kind of all came together. I met Nick, and the way that Safe House opened and the way that it started was every house was dedicated to someone who overdosed and lost their life to addiction. And so my sister had passed away in 2018. Um, so this house is dedicated to her. Um, and for me personally, when she had passed away, I was in active addiction. So I had like used for a total of like 3 years. I was out when she passed away, and I got sober almost 2.5 years ago, and it's just been a blessing to be able to do this and like stay sober and help other women and dedicate this to her.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess that you kind of took her loss. At first, you could use it as an excuse to continue using, right? But now it's kind of a motivating force. Um, would you say that that's accurate? And could you speak to kind of like how does her legacy live on kind of in your daily practice?
What's a lot of this, like for me in my own personal sobriety, like it's been like a spiritual journey for me. So like this time getting sober, I've been like, my belief in God, like my spiritual program has been a lot different. So
Yeah,
like every single girl that walks into this house that I do their intake, they sit in this chair, and like right behind them is this picture of my sister.
mm,
So like I'm reminded that like every girl that walks into this house, is it has a chance, has an opportunity, and then like I look back at the wall and I'm like, and this is all for you. So um, there's a strong connection between like her passing and then like being able to help people because, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
yeah, I think it's pretty awesome, like that you guys do that with all your houses, just dedicating them to someone who is lost from the disease. It is crazy how many people, how fatal addiction can be. And I've heard that residents at Safe House, especially in the women's house, get kind of like a homey vibe and kind of a family atmosphere. um how did you kind of create that, and what kind of things go into making somebody who might be very new, might feel very alone, feeling a part of something? How do you kind of create that atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, the physical house, right?
Hmm.
It's not just like this, you know, uh, original halfway house, with like the same kind of furniture. We took a lot of time to like decorate this house and like make it homey and paint the walls, and like a lot of love and like hard work went into creating this house, which we were so blessed to get to find.
Yeah,
So that's like the first thing. And then the second is, I just like I interact with the girls. I know everything about them. They tell me what's going on. I take them random dinners to the movies, we do things together, meetings, I'll just like pop in and be like, we're all going to a meeting, let's go, you know. We have barbecues here at the house where we get everyone together and fellowship, so that's really, my goal is to like have that family atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw on your guys's Instagram stories some pictures and videos of the barbecue, and Nick just sprawled out in his nice tank top, just having a blast.
Yeah.
Um, it looked fun. I mean, that was, for me, a big part of like why sober living, why I actually sometimes loved being in sober living, was because we had a really good kind of community atmosphere, and we played board games and went to meetings together, and you know talked shit in the van and stuff like that. So that's I think that fellowship is a huge component. So that's pretty sweet. um I can imagine that like your job can be kind of draining at times, right? Like, we know that a lot of people, don't get it on the first try. How do you kind of manage your own, like, staying optimistic, staying positive with, all the struggles that people have? How are you able to take care of yourself while also, being a caregiver for so many women in early recovery?
Yeah, that's a good question because that's like so important, for me. Um, and I've had experiences like when I was younger where like I would put, everything, my job before everything,
Hmm.
before myself. And like it had caused me to go to like very dark places, So like now, I'm just very disciplined. Like I have a routine, I have a schedule. Sure, like I can go stir crazy sometimes and like have my moments,
Sure.
but I have really good support. I have really good people in my life today. My family's really supportive. Um, and I take care of myself. I go to my meetings, I talk to my sponsor, I go on like 1 day retreats, I work out, so I have a schedule, and that's like really, really important for me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Do you guys do in-house meetings, or do you usually take the girls to like outside meetings?
So we have a mandatory Monday night house meeting,
Okay.
Monday night from 7 to 9. Sometimes it goes a little over. Um, so we have that house meeting, and then we have a women's meeting the last Sunday of every month. I have a meeting here at the house where I open it up to women in the community. Their sponsors can come, their friends in recovery. Um,
Oh,
so we do
cool.
once a month, which is really cool. Um, and then like sometimes randomly I'll call like a house meeting if something needs to be addressed or like something's going on. But those Monday night house meetings are important, and they're mandatory for a reason. It brings the girls together. Um, we talk about what's going on in the house. Every girl checks in where they're at with their 12-step program because it is mandatory to be in a 12-step program at this house. So everyone checks in, and then we also do something called pull-ups, where every girl kind of will help each other out by pointing out something that they think they need to work on, right?
Hmm.
So if someone's like lacking on their meetings, or if you know someone gave someone attitude and it's been like they've been like resentful about it, they'll bring it up at that meeting. um, just kind of like giving them feedback about what they're observing, about if someone's doing the right thing or not. So it's really good because it can, although it can get like a little heated and like stressful, at the end of the meeting we always come together, and it's growth. Those are like my favorite nights of the week, is that Monday night meeting.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, so that's not a 12-step meeting. That is kind of a house accountability meeting, it sounds like.
Yes.
Um, how much of that is like, would you say the girls holding each other accountable, kind of peer-to-peer support versus you kind of intervening? Do you try to facilitate an atmosphere where the girls kind of like maybe sponsor each other or give each other feedback, or is it mostly like their sponsors are outside the house?
Their sponsors are definitely outside the house. They're not allowed to sponsor each other and live here.
Okay.
Um, but hearing from me what I think they should be doing or what I think they should be working on is one thing, but hearing it from each other, I think is so much more important because they're all, they're peers. They live together. They're here together. They go to meetings together. They eat together. So,
Right.
I always tell them like, if you're here and you're just like, you know, coasting along and everything's fine, then I'm worried about you, right? Like if you're angry, if you're mad, if you're sad, if you're going through shit, if you're yelling at someone else, like those were the real emotions. And so like that is good stuff, that means you're growing.
Right.
Um,
It's always funny, like you see like there's like a meme of, like a newcomer with like no shoes who will look at you dead in the eye and say that they're doing great. And it's like that's so much more concerning than somebody in early recovery who's like having a meltdown because at least they're being honest. Like
I'm
um
like melting down, keep doing it.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
doing great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's like what do you have in store for the future? Any big ideas or big plans? What are your goals?
Um, I for me, like I would love to open more women's houses. I would love
Okay.
to have as many women as possible, you know, um, and really that's it. Like I'm not like over the top with like, these future goals. This is great, and this is, this house is my first house, and it's amazing. I would love to open up more houses.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a good, mission to take what you've got, which is working, and just kind of do it again. I know that, your partner Nick has some pretty large, innovative ideas, but it's always good to do what we do best, right? And focus on that. So that's awesome. I know that you've been using Sobriety Hub to kind of manage your house. How would you say that's been going and kind of how have you been utilizing the platform?
It's been great. Like these we have the intake packets that are paper, right? And they're long, and it's like we there's so many of them, so it's just a lot to organize. But to be able to like look at my phone quickly, right, and see who's in the house, get their emergency contacts, see how they're doing. I always update, like, if they're going to meetings, if they did their chore, being able to go back and look at that is super helpful.
That's good. Yeah, I'm happy that you guys have been using it as one of kind of our fledgling users. It's been super nice to get your continued feedback. Um, is there, before we wrap up, is there anyone you wanted to like shout out that helped you get to where you're at today, or kind of any closing thoughts?
Shout out. You know, being having this house, being able to have this opportunity, which has been just amazing and such a blessing.
Yeah,
Um, I'm definitely thankful for Nick, first of all, for like helping me with this, and being supportive and like helping me create this for sure,
yeah.
so shout out to Nick Connor. But also, my family, most importantly, like about a month ago, my parents flew down here. They got to take a picture in front of the wall. They got to see the
Mm,
house. It was just me and my sister growing up. So like it just means everything, because just short of 3 years ago, I was on the streets
yeah,
getting high. So like to have this and for them to be so supportive and do this for him, for them, do this for my sister. It's just really been a blessing.
yeah. No, that's super powerful. Well, this has been great. Once again, Jackie is the women's co-owner of the Women's Housing at Safe House, and she's very motivated. They have a really, really nice facility, as you can see, and you know, it's inspired by tragic events, but I'm happy that you're doing a great thing with it now. And thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Thank you, Clay. Thank you for having me.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Bye bye.